Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to HLE Glasscoat Limited H1 and FY22 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Himanshu Patel, Chairman, HLE Glasscoat. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Patel.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's earnings conference call to discuss the performance of the company for Q2 and H1 of the financial year 2021-22. I hope you and your families are healthy and safe and have enjoyed the festival season. Our presentation and press release along with the results have been uploaded on the stock exchange and are also available on the company's website. I am joined by Mr. Alap Patel, Executive Director, Mr. Harsh Patel, Non-Executive Director, Mr. K.V. Unnikrishnan, CFO, and Mr. Nilesh Ganjwala, Senior Advisor to the company. Before I move on to discussing the financial performance, let me give you an update on the key operational parameters. I am pleased to announce that our order book position continues to remain strong. We have an order book of over 6 months for both filter tire and glass line equipment. This reflects the continued robust demand from the user industries. All our plants were operating at higher levels during the quarter ended September 2021. The higher order book continued with the higher production levels is likely to result in improved dispatches and sales in the coming quarters. The increase in capacities recently installed or under installation will further augment the activity levels in both business segments. In the last quarter, there were some delays in the dispatches due to delays attributable to the customers, and these dispatches have spilled over to the ongoing quarter. We are continuing to introduce better technologies to smaller players in the end user industries as this market is rapidly growing. We believe that MSME as a sector has tremendous potential, and the team is focused on adding newer customers, especially from this segment. We also plan to expand the geographies with a renewed thrust on exports for both our key product segments. These initiatives will help us expand to market share at an accelerated pace. Our focus on customer retention, customer satisfaction, and post-sales service support continues. We continue to implement our long-term strategy of product expansion, capacity expansion, and market expansion. The acquisition of Thalitech will further enable an expansion of products, geography, and market share. Our team is constantly working towards product innovation and developing newer products along with newer features to improve user experience. On the capex front, we have commissioned the additional gas-fired furnaces at the Anand plant. This will boost our glass lining capacity by nearly 25% and further reduce the per unit power and fuel costs. The capex plans for the fabrication shops at Maroli and Silvassa are also been progressing well. The Maroli expansion will be completed within the next month, whereas the greenfield expansion at Silvassa will be completed by end of financial year 22. These expansions will add more floor area and machinery for us to increase our production capacity for filtration, drying, and other equipments. Now, let me brief you on the recent acquisition announcement by the company. The acquisition process is progressing well and is expected to be completed within 2021. We have given the details of Thaletech earlier, but in the interest of the larger audience here, let me discuss the Thaletech acquisition once again. Thaletech is engaged in the business of manufacturing glass-lined equipment and specialized process equipment and reactors, and has its manufacturing facility in Thale, Germany. Thaletech is a market leader in the glass-lined equipment business in the highly sophisticated market of Germany and caters to sectors like chemical, pharmaceutical, and environmental process industries. The company is growing, profit-making entity with very low debt. The acquisition offers strong synergies and capabilities like innovative manufacturing technologies of Thaletech, marketing and post-sales network of Thaletech, enhanced efficiencies and combined business interests for both the entities, and optional utilization of various resources leading to economies of scale and integration of processes. The 100% acquisition has been negotiated at the valuation of 12 million euros. This is for your information. I would now hand over to Mr. Unnikrishnan, CFO, to brief you on the financial highlights for the period. Thank you. Over to Mr. Unnikrishnan.
Thank you, Himanshu Bhai. I hope that all of you have had the opportunity to go through our presentation and press release. With respect to financial year 2022, our overall revenues were rupees 248 crores, a growth of 21%. EBITDA stood at rupees 48 crores, a growth of 31%, and PAT stood at rupees 27 crores, a growth of 49% over the corresponding half year of financial year 21. 57% of the revenues were contributed by filtration, drying and other equipment, and the remaining 43% came from glass-lined equipment division. But these divisions have showed a healthy revenue growth of over 30%. EBIT growth for filtration, drying and other equipment is 20%, whereas EBIT growth for glass-lined equipment is 78% over the corresponding half year in financial year 2021. With respect to Q2 financial year 2022, our revenues were rupees 124 crores, a growth of 2%. EBITDA stood at rupees 23 crores, a growth of 7%, and PAT stood at rupees 13 crores, a growth of 12% over the corresponding quarter of financial year 21. While revenues from filtration, drying and other equipment have grown by 23% to rupees 72.8 crores, revenues from glass-lined equipment remained at rupees 50 crores. EBIT for filtration, drying and other equipment stood at rupees 11.4 crores, registering a growth of 15%, and EBITDA for glass-lined equipment division grew by 7% to rupees 10.1 crores. The return on capital employed and the return on equity remain at over 30%. Net debt to EBITDA stand at 0.1 times in September 21, reduced further from 0.6 times in March 2021. Now I request the moderator to open the floor for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Samir Palod from AUM Fund Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations on a decent set of numbers. Sir, I had a few questions on Thaletech. So currently, if you could just break up the Thaletech revenues in terms of how much would be our OEM business, aftermarket business, what kind of margins do we see in each of these segments? And going ahead, what kind of growth or ramp up do you see in the international business? And in case if we are planning any integration with HLE Glasscoat or Technology Exchange, so what kind of tech exchange or what are we planning, or whether Thaletech will be run independently?
Thank you for the question. The breakup of the Thaletech revenue is roughly about 40% comes from the after sales business, and the balance is the sales for new equipment or the OEM equipment or OEM sales, as you mentioned it. In terms of the performance, the company, as Himanshu Bhai stated earlier, continues to grow well and it's profitable. We are expecting that the performance will continue positively in the future on a standalone basis. To your question on whether Thaletech will be run as an independent entity, yes, we currently intend to maintain the separate identity of Thaletech, both as a corporate entity as well as an independent brand, because it has strong recall in the markets and among the customers that it is operating. With respect to the potential for integration, again, there are considerable potential for synergies between the two companies. There is an obvious synergy of using the technology advantages that both the outfits have in their respective businesses and to combine these into a common offering. There is also the synergy or the potential of using a low-cost manufacturing base like India for optimizing the cost of supplies to customers. And probably one of the most important potential is of the capability of using the Thaletech network of marketing and after sales for selling the various products, including the filtration and drying products that HLE Glasscoat manufactures in India. So there are considerable benefits that will be derived over a period of time.
Okay. And in terms, can you just also help us with the geography outlook for Thaletech, like how much does US or Europe contribute, and how much does HLE Glasscoat as of today, is it approved in any of the other countries for exports?
Yeah. So about half of Thaletech sales, I would say more than half of Thaletech, over half of Thaletech sales come from Germany.
Okay.
Rest of the sales predominantly again come from Europe. Thaletech also has a certain small portion of its sale coming from the Asia Pacific. Just as an instance, Thaletech has a considerable presence, for example, in Singapore. And also, Thaletech has a subsidiary in the US. However, the contribution to sales of the subsidiary is I would say, less than 5% at the moment. However, we feel that is quite an opportunity since they have already started their operations in the US in some way, and US being a large and important market for glass manufacturing, it's a great opportunity for us going forward.
Okay. And lastly, sir, on the India business, so I see that our revenues are flat in the current quarter, though the order book that we had for the last year or last 6 months, we always had a 6 to 8 month order backlog. So what happened in the current quarter that our numbers are, flattish in nature?
So I think you're right that to achieve growth, the company needs basically two fundamental actions. One is sales, which is in our case order book, and the second is manufacture, which is driven by our capacities. You rightly pointed out that we have a very robust order book. In fact, the order book during the last 3 or 4 months has only gone up further. In fact, the current order book is close to about 280 crores combined for the two businesses, so which is probably at its highest level ever. The main reason for the flat numbers is predominantly related to dispatches, and especially in capital goods industries, we have always noticed that there could be certain delays in dispatches which are connected with the situation at the site of the customers concerned. I think we are all aware that this time we've had an abnormally extended and heavy monsoon in certain parts of the country. And I think this has actually led to some delays in site preparation at the customer sites. And I think that is probably the reason why some of the orders have been basically just the dispatches have been rescheduled to the next few weeks. So that's really the only reason. Otherwise, in terms of operational levels, order books are looking as robust as ever. As I said, we are having order books at all-time high currently, and even the production levels during this quarter have been considerably higher than previous quarters.
Okay, but sir, when you said that there is a delay in dispatches, but from what I see in the working capital cycle page that you have given, we just have 14 crores of finished goods present in our inventory. So I assume that our productions are also low because and we don't have finished goods present for our clients. So are we running at full utilization levels and that is why we are facing issues, or because the 14 crore number is very low compared to the order book size that we have?
Okay. Very, very fair question. But just to clarify, from an accounting perspective, till the product is finally assembled and ready for delivery, we account for it as work in progress. So if you see the work in progress number, the work in progress number is close to 81 crores. So
correct.
If you look at 81 crores and then finished goods at an additional 14 crores, we are looking at close to about 95 to 96 crores in goods which are at different stages of manufacture. And I can assure you a lot of these goods are at very advanced stage and almost ready for dispatch.
Okay. So can we assume that, say, in the next quarter, say Q3 and Q4, we'll at least, surpass our previous run rates by, high teens or something like that?
I think that would be a fair expectation, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Kaushal Shah from Danki Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. So, sir, you mentioned about some delay in dispatches. Now, just to kind of, add some more color on this, if you can just elaborate. Apparently, the Q2 number for filtration and drying revenue number seems to be quite decent. There is a 23% YOY growth. So if you can just, like I said, add some more color as to is this this delay pertaining largely to the glass-lined equipment, where we have kind of reported flat revenues. So that was the first question. The second was Himanshu sir mentioned about Anand. And good to hear that, we've added capacity over there. So if you can kind of, again, just add some more info as to what could be the run rate, given that this was a brownfield and we should be able to integrate this and kind of convert this into revenues, given that our order book stands quite strong. The third question was regarding the investment number. So if I look at the balance sheet, there is this 50 crore investment number. I'm just wanted a little clarity. This pertains to Thaletech, or is there anything else also on this? So these are three questions, sir. I'll come back for more.
So on your first question, I think the circumstances with respect to the customer sides are relevant for both the manufacturing sides. So yes, the filtration and drying segment has shown good growth. What I could only say is that if these delays had not happened, the growth would have been even higher. While on the glass-lined equipment side, yes, also there have been certain delays in dispatches. To take your last question with respect to the investments of 50 crores, this is the money that has been set aside for the transaction with Thalitech. So that is the accruals and the equity portion of the funding that has already been set aside. So it's only been earmarked for the purpose of the acquisition.
Just one, Nilesh bhai, just one corollary to that. We have said Thalitech, the transaction will be completed in 21. So I'm presuming it is calendar 21 or financial year 21?
Calendar 20. Financial year 21 is already come over, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry. So basically, could we presume that the fourth quarter will be, the consolidated numbers will include even the Thalitech acquisition?
So, sorry, from an accounting perspective, the consolidation of the profit and loss account will happen from the date of closing, which is the date on which the shares actually get transferred. So, depending on the exact date, we will have the closing happening and then the consolidation will come in. So, just hypothetically speaking, if the closing happens on, let's say, 15th of December, then all the P&L items post 15th of December will be consolidated.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So if the closing happens as we expect within 2021, which is by December 2021, yes, in the third quarter the balance sheet will definitely have the impact of Thalitech, but the profit and loss account will be only for the broken period.
Sure. Okay.
On the question relating to the capacity expansion, I would just request Alap bhai to take that, please.
Yes. So our manufacturing process consists mainly of, you can broadly in the glass-lined equipment section, you can divide it into three main steps. So fabrication, glass lining, and then assembly. So if you look at all of these three steps, we have recently added capacity to expand assembly. So in the last financial year, we added a new assembly shed. We have enough or ample capacity to fabricate. So to kind of balance the line, we have commissioned the glass line furnace, and this section of this glass line furnace adds about 25% more capacity in that particular section. So you could say that we are adding about 25% more capacity in terms of the output that is possible.
Sure. So, Alap bhai, if I can, add a few more questions on this. We are, obviously added one more furnace in Anand. There is also this Moroli expansion in filtration and drying coming up. So, if you can, kind of throw some light on what could, potentially our output be in terms of, let's say, approximate revenue run rate. I also want to, just kind of get a little clarity. We were, if I remember right, going to add one more gas furnace. So is that still underway, or that is not the plan now?
Sorry, if I can. So to answer your last question first, I think as far as the furnace expansion is concerned, that's already been completed in the previous quarter, in the quarter ended September. So that has already been completed, and currently there is no furnace which is in the process of being implemented. We may take a call on that maybe somewhere in the coming months, depending on how the operations progress. With respect to the Moroli expansion, the expansion will lead to about 20 to 25% increase in floor area. In terms of it, obviously will lead to higher production happening there. In terms of the run rate of revenue, specifically to your question, again, all of these plans are going to be commercialized at different points of time during the year. So the Moroli expansion is likely to be commissioned in the next 3 to 4 months, let's say by about February or so. Silvassa, which is a greenfield project, is likely to be commissioned by the end of the financial year, which is by March. And Anand, as you mentioned, has already been commissioned in the previous quarter.
Great. And coming back to my earlier question regarding, the delays, Nilesh, is it possible for you to put a number to that, delay? Meaning, what could be the likely number that we could have done in Q2, but which we will now do in Q3?
It's difficult for me to really put a number, to be very honest, and would not be a fair question. But I can only draw your attention to a line item in the result, which reflects to the increase-decrease in WIP and finished goods. And if you see your regular
20 odd crore, 19 crore
yeah.
number.
So if you that is the increase that has happened during this quarter in WIP and finished goods. Yes, there will be normal increases, and this is obviously an abnormal increase which you can attribute to the delay.
Understood. This was very helpful. I'll get back in the queue for any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Samir Palod from AUM Fund Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. I had a further few questions. So now that our Anand capacity and Silvassa capacity has been implemented, what kind of revenues can we do in terms of top line in the filtration, drying, and the glass-lined equipment, and as in terms of peak case basis, if we could just throw a number?
I think it's a little difficult to throw a number based on pure capacities because the top line is driven by A, production capacity, B, complexity of the products that we develop, which is dependent on the orders that we get, and 3 is of course also the material of construction. Just to give an example, if we manufacture a stainless steel equipment, the cost could be X, whereas if you were to do, let's say, an exotic metal like Hestelloy, the cost could be 3X. So while it will be one equipment, the top line impact could be substantially different, and hence might be a little difficult. I think a very simple thumb rule to kind of estimate this would be the percentage of production capacity that it adds. I think that would be probably a more like a thumb rule estimate, yes.
Okay, so, just because I just want to understand, because, to, get some sense on, how much production capacities do we have to, or what is the max run rate till which the revenue currently can go further to, so that, how much room for upside do we have before any further capex? I just wanted to get a good sense on that.
Can I request you to kindly clarify your question? I'm sorry, I didn't get your question clearly.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is currently, we are at a 125, 130 crore run rate in terms of top line, correct?
Yeah.
So, with all these capacities coming in, can we say that we can easily do a 200 crore run rate in a specific quarter, looking at the kind of order book that we currently have, as in terms of max basis? That is what I'm trying to understand.
From a pure mathematical perspective, I would think that a run rate of about 175 to 200 crores is doable.
Okay. Okay. And, sir, in terms, we say that our work in progress and, finished goods and inventory is 95 crores. So how much of this inventory, inflation is due to the raw material inflation effect? Because, steel prices and everything has gone up by 20 to 30% in the first half of the year. So, our inventories will also be inflated by an equal amount of, commodity inflation, if you could just quantify.
It's difficult to quantify because we have a system where we do a weighted average costing for all our material costs at different stages of manufacture. We do have an evaluation of impact that it has on margins. In our case, the impact on margin is not very material, simply because, as I think we had explained on one of our earlier calls, we do have a very clear pass-through mechanism with respect to the way we take our orders and the way the raw material prices are included in our costing scenario. So, yes, there would obviously be impact of some raw material price increases in the value of inventory, But I don't think that will have an impact on margins going forward.
Yes, yes, I definitely do understand that, we are very capable in terms of passing on these inflation costs and, sustaining our margins in the current quarter. And I totally believe that the company will be able to pass on these raw material inflations going ahead also, because of the kind of capabilities and quality of product that we deliver. But if generally, what kind of price increase would you have taken in the first half of the year, just to give an average picture? And in the third quarter, as we see, we are halfway into the quarter, what kind of price increase have we already taken or passed on to the customer, if you can just help?
Again, let me clarify. So there is no specific price increase that is passed on over a period or any such thing. So just to kind of clarify, we do not do a price increase across the board. Let's say, example, effective 1st of December, there'll be a price increase of 5%. No, that's not the way we do it. Each of our orders is based on a certain cost sheet, and each of the orders is customized and specific to that customer and customer specification. So every order has the element of the respective price increase built in.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much, the participants, as well as the senior advisor, Nilesh Bhai. Thank you for your time. So I may conclude this here, and all the best to everyone present.
Thank you very much. On behalf of HLE Glascoat Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.